Welcome to Oakland, California, everyone, where the 10-5 San Diego Chargers look to secure the number 3 seed in the AFC postseason, taking on the 4-11 Oakland Raiders. Along with Dan Deerdorf, I'm Greg Gumbel. This game coming to you, as always, here on CBS in high definition. The Chargers playing for that tried and true pride. And Jamarcus Russell gets his first NFL start, the number 1 pick overall. The Raiders have won the toss, and Russell will get his hands on the ball first. This is Dave Rayner, who was signed this week to do kickoffs. Nate Kading with a slight bruise in his kicking leg. He'll be resigned to kickoff duties. This is Chris Carr. To the outside, running room, 40, and out of bounds close to midfield. So Jamarcus Russell and the Raider offense will have some field position. The NFL's first overall pick gets his first start with the Raider Nation looking on and looking for that spark he brought to the LSU offense last year. The Raider front line, Sims, Gallery, Newberry, Carlisle, and Paul McQuiston. Russell's wideouts are Ronald Curry with 4 touchdown catches and Jerry Porter, who has 5. Russell to throw, and it's a little screen, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Igor Olshansky.
Wow, I don't know what else to say. His very first pass as a starter goes right to a Charger defensive lineman. He had 3 picks in a game last week. Pressure off the edges, and he just tries to flip it in. He's got the screen, and Olshansky sitting right in the middle of it.
Raider coach Lane Kiffin told us he was most disappointed at his poor decision-making process last week. That wasn't a good choice either.
Oh, they had outstanding field position, and it went up in smoke, and they hand it right to the Chargers.
Now Phillip Rivers to LT. And LaDainian Tomlinson, not much there. Phillip Rivers is the Chargers quarterback, 3,000 plus yards throwing this season, 19 touchdown passes. He's also been picked 15 times.
Norv Turner is pleased with the way that Phillip Rivers has played the last couple of weeks, and he feels he's on an upswing as he head towards the playoffs. He's kind of been peaks and valleys during the course of the season, but he's on a little bit of a roll now.
Quick slant on 2nd and 9 is complete inside the 35 to Chris Chambers. A look at San Diego's offensive line. 5th-year left guard Chris Spielman, one of 8 Chargers headed to the Pro Bowl. And Rivers has a Pro Bowl tight end in Antonio Gates and a Pro Bowl running back, the NFL's leading rusher in LaDainian Tomlinson.
1st and 10 for the Chargers, 34.
First down, San Diego at the Oakland 34. Pass is complete. We have penalty markers down as inside the 25 goes Vincent Jackson. Our referee today is Terry McCauley. And it's against the Raiders. You know, not very much has gone right for the Oakland Raiders, Dan, and it seems when things aren't going
offside,
well.
Defense, number 56. Penalties decline.
As they have not for Lane Kiffin, things seem to be piling up.
Yeah, they really are, and it's you know, when you have the number 1 pick in the draft and he misses all of training camp, doesn't come in until the season's already started, you know that his productivity for the year is over. I mean, this is the best you can hope for. Sneak him in a couple games at the end. That's a bad start that went downhill.
On 2nd and 1, Tomlinson looking for the first down, has it as he punches his way to the 22-yard line, maybe the 21. A look at Oakland's 4-3 defense has the rookie from Ohio State, Jay Richardson, lining up next to the 13-year veteran Warren Sapp. The linebackers are Thomas Morrison and Howard. Middle linebacker Kirk Morrison, the team interception leader with 4, and the Raider secondary, Asamoah, Eugene Huff, and Stanford Rout. First down, San Diego at the Raider 21. LT stacked up at the 20. LaDainian Tomlinson, the NFL's defending MVP and also defending rushing champion.
And the NFL rushing leader right now. He has a 113-yard lead going into this game. And if he has anything approaching what he's done against the Raiders over the course of his career, I don't think he'll have a lot of trouble holding on to that title.
He kind of likes to see them coming.
Yes, he's averaging a
Bunch.
buck 20 and change against these guys.
2nd and 9. Rivers from the shotgun throws. That's to the 15-yard line to the tight end Antonio Gates. And he's pushed out of bounds. Just how good has LT been against the Oakland Raiders?
Well, check it out. In 13 career games, he's averaging almost 130 yards a game. He scored better than a touchdown a game. 8 of those 13 over 100. Yes, I would say that he's feasted.
If you're the coach, you'd
on
say
silver and black.
that'll work.
That'll work.
3rd and 4.
Of course, the Raiders aren't the only team that LT's taken a bite out of during his career.
3rd and 4. Rivers needs the 11-yard line for a first down. Steps up, gonna run for it. First down inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal for San Diego.
Boy, and Philip Rivers, you can see the huge brace that he's wearing on his left leg that he injured about a month ago. And this is something I don't think you're going to see very often, him taking off and running with the football. This was too much to pass up, though, as a gaping hole. The Raiders' defensive lineman got out of their gaps. You get a good look at that brace. And if he ran by choice that time. If he's forced out of the pocket and has to move when he doesn't want to, that's when it really shows up as to how uncomfortable he is on the move.
1st and goal from the 9. LaDainian Tomlinson to the outside trying to turn the corner and run out of bounds at about the 7 by Thomas Howard. Now, Dan, a fan might ask, well, then why do you risk him in playing in a game like this with the playoffs looming? This is a most important game for the San Diego Chargers.
When the day is over, the Chargers are either going to be the number 3 seed or the number 4 seed in the AFC. Norv Turner, their head coach, wants to be the 3 seed. He told his team, look, last year the Colts were the 3 seed, and they ended up hosting the AFC Championship after number 1 and number 2 get beat. So he wants the 3rd seed, and he's going to play his starters until he gets it.
2nd and goal from the 7. Rivers throws inside the 5. LT, touchdown. So LaDainian Tomlinson, his 3rd touchdown receiving on the season, 18th overall. And Jamarcus Russell's interception turns into points on the board for San Diego.
And I'm telling you right now, LT was not Philip Rivers' first choice. He did a nice job checking down, but watch the power. Look at this stiff arm right there. Just right into the face of Hiram Eugene, and he has no chance of getting into the body or the legs of LT. Man, he does that to a lot of people.
Kading's kick is practically uncontested. 9:53 to play in the first. Jamarcus Russell will try to right the wrong. It's 7-0 Chargers. Jamarcus Russell's interception turns into a 9-play, 47-yard San Diego drive in just under 5 minutes. Philip Rivers throwing the touchdown pass to LaDainian Tomlinson, and it's 7-0 San Diego. Now Rayner will once again kick to Chris Carr once we get the ball teed up.
You know, a lot of stories about Jamarcus Russell being unflappable, that nothing bothers him and that he just sails right through trouble. That's the kind of a start to a football game that'll get anyone a little down. We'll see how he responds from this. I don't care how unflappable you are. You work all week, and on the very first play of the game, you hand it to a defensive lineman.
This will be Chris Carr on the run at the 8. 25, bounces off of the tackle to the outside, and he has running room. 45, dragged down at midfield. Brandon Seiler may have saved the touchdown. Once again, terrific field position for the Raiders and Jamarcus Russell. Well, kind of the same picture as we began this game with, except a little better field position, and the Raiders are down 7 points, but Jamarcus Russell has had one snap, threw an interception on an attempted screen, and then we'll have another go at it.
Chris Carr came to play with those 2 returns.
This is Dominique Rhodes. And Rhodes wrapped up after about a 5 or a 6-yard gain. It had a penalty marker flies in. This could be a face mask.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. Clinton Hart might have been the guy in there. At first, he was pushing. You see the umpire make.
There's
he
no
was
foul
pushing.
for grasping the face mask. The helmet was pushed off the head. Second down.
No foul. Huh. All right, take a look at Rhodes right here. There's the left hand of Hart.
A gain of 6.
Wow, they're saying that he had his hand on it, that he didn't grab it and pull it, and that the helmet just came off. That might be a good call.
We've seen, this is the season of loose helmets, Dan. We've seen a few.
That's got to be tighter than that, but that's a good call. He did not grab it and pull it off.
2nd and 4. Rhodes again. We were talking about it had not been a good 2 weeks for Jamarcus Russell.
Well, he got his first extended playing time last week in the game against Jacksonville, and he threw 3 interceptions. There was the first, right there into double coverage. That's 2. And here comes his 3rd one, again into double coverage. And then this, the opening play of the game, just a softball to Igor Olshansky. And Jamarcus Russell right now, and last week he had 3 picks. 2 of them, he had 2 that were dropped. It could have been 5 last week. Jacksonville dropped 2 of them.
3rd and 1. Rhodes looking for the first down, and he gets it inside the 40 to the 37. And talking with Lane Kiffin the other day, his words said volumes when he just said simply his decision-making was not good.
No, and he actually said it was pretty much of a disaster. He had a plan on how to ease Jamarcus Russell into life in the NFL, and it did not involve him going in last week against Jacksonville when they're way behind. He said, Jamarcus, just act like it's a tied game. I don't want you to win this thing. I just want you to move the chains, get comfortable. Instead, he tried to force the ball and learned in the NFL that what flew in the SEC won't fly here.
Oh, here's his second pass of the day. Has time, throws, and that is almost intercepted by the NFL's interception leader, Antonio Cromartie. And a penalty marker is down in the middle of the field. Ooh.
Boy, for a guy with a cannon of an arm, he didn't put much on that throw.
Antonio Cromartie had nothing but green ahead of him.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense, number 76. 15-yard penalty. Foul occurred after the play. Second down.
That's the left guard, Robert Gallery.
Let's look at this throw by Jamarcus Russell. All right, he's identified where he's going to go with the ball, but he throws kind of a floater. I mean, that ball is not the laser that you see come off his arm.
We saw him throwing rockets in the warm-up.
And that was a floater. And it gave Cromartie plenty of time to react to the ball. He actually kind of wristed that out there into the flat.
Antonio Cromartie has shown he kind of has an idea what to do with the football.
As he blossomed into not just a specialty guy, but a full-time force.
2nd and 25. Here's Dominique Rhodes. Inside the 45 to about the 44 to James Brown at the NFL Today in New York. JB.
All right, Greg, after Pittsburgh fumbled on the opening kickoff, Baltimore capitalized on it when Troy Smith, the rookie quarterback, hands off to Musa Smith. That 2-yard touchdown run puts Baltimore on top 7-0. And you know, Pittsburgh fighting for that 3rd seed. Back to Greg Gumbel and Dan Deardorff.
All right, JB, music to the ears of the San Diego Chargers and their fans.
Although they have it in their own control, the Chargers do. If they win today, they are the 3rd seed.
Rhodes spinning. Oh, what a burst inside the 40 to the 38.
Since this game has started, and it wasn't that long ago, Dominique Rhodes is running the football. He is making people miss. He's spinning.
Bouncing.
Oh, he is really running well right there. You know, he ran for 115 yards last week against Jacksonville. And that is really what the Raiders were hoping to get when they signed him as a free agent from Indianapolis. But he's run hard here in the early going.
These Raiders have some money tied up in running backs in Rhodes and Lamont Jordan. From the shotgun now, Russell pulling over the middle, and he hits the rookie tight end, Zach Miller.
And the best of their running backs was their third-team running back, Justin Fargas, who's on IR and who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year with a knee injury.
Well,
Fargas passed them both.
Lane Kiffin has a lot of decisions to make, and he says there are going to be some changes.
Yeah, I think there's going to be changes on his coaching staff, changes on the roster for sure.
Sebastian Janikowski from 49 yards out to get the Raiders on the board. Pulled it. .5:55 to play in the first. Lane Kiffin sees his Raiders still scoreless at 7-0 San Diego. Oakland, California on a beautiful day, and you couldn't say that about the last couple of days here.
No, it has rained here steadily, and what a pleasant surprise this morning to wake up and find the sun shining.
You can see more than a block and a half away.
Yeah, LT hasn't gotten loose yet. 4 carries for 8 yards.
On first down, a fake to LT. Lots of time for Rivers. He throws it deep. Through the hands of Chris Chambers.
That was a touchdown.
2nd and 10 when we come back, but once again, JB in New York.
Hey, Greg, tell Dan, but Clinton Portis has gotten loose for the Skins. The Skins need this win in order to get the last spot for the playoffs in the NFC. Clinton Portis capping a 5-play, 73-yard drive, 23 yards of pay dirt. Skins on top of Dallas by a touchdown. Back to Greg and Dan.
You know, JB, Dan taught Clinton Portis how to dress.
You better believe it. And if the Redskins make the playoffs, won't that be one of the really feel-good stories of the 07 year?
There's a loose ball. Raiders have that one. You bet they do.
Looks like Derek Burgess came up with the ball.
So that evens the turnovers.
Philip Rivers comes out there and stumbles. He trips because of the penetration.
And ended up tossing the ball a little bit towards LT.
This is supposed to be a handoff, but Warren Sapp is so far upfield that he actually causes Philip Rivers to stumble before he can make the handoff.
So now, more good field position for Russell from the 35. And Rhodes tripped up at about the line of scrimmage, and Greg Gumbel along with Dan Dierdorf. It's really interesting this time of year to see the different approaches that coaches take. There are some who are going to rest their guys. There are others, like Norv Turner, who says, this game, we've got to have this game. We want this game desperately.
I asked him how long he was going to play his starters. He's going to play them the whole game if that's what it takes to win. He wants the 3rd seed. He wants it badly, and his guys are going to work for it.
Russell on the move. Chased and throws to the sideline, and that is complete to Jerry Porter. Boy, and Jerry Porter has a different life this season than he had a year ago here in Oakland.
They don't make doghouses big enough for the one that Jerry Porter was in last year with Art Shell. And Lane Kiffin comes in, said, look, I don't care. I don't care what was written about you, said about you. I don't care about anything other than what you do from this day forward. And he didn't just say that to Jerry Porter, he said it to everybody on the team. But Jerry Porter had gone from a guy who basically was off the team last year to having a very productive season.
3rd and 6 now from the shotgun. Russell gonna throw it deep, and incomplete, marker thrown. Drayton Florence covering Ronald Curry.
And no doubt about that. No question about that. Although Jamarcus Russell could have put a little more air under that
defense.
ball.
Number 29.
The fact that it's underthrown is what causes Florence to actually commit the interference. See, right now he's chasing Curry, but he has no idea where the ball is. Drayton Florence, a corner, had no clue as to where the football was, and that's why he got the penalty. No idea. I know every now and then you can play the technique of playing the receiver and not the ball, but that wasn't that case for Drayton Florence.
1st and goal. Rhodes looking for the end zone, and he's there. Touchdown.
Greg, how funny things turn around. Remember, right before that fumble, Philip Rivers threw what looked like a touchdown pass to Chris Chambers. The ball goes right through his hands. They then turn it over in their own territory. Instead of 14-0, all of a sudden we have a 7-7 ball game.
And each team with a touchdown off of a turnover.
Good drive that time by the offensive line of the Raiders. They've been running the ball effectively this year, and that time they rooted the Chargers off the ball.
Janikowski with the extra point, and it is perfect. 4:31 to play in the first. Dominique Rhodes with the Raider touchdown. We're tied at 7. 4:31 to play in the first. LaDainian Tomlinson, he and Phillip Rivers, a little mix-up in the backfield, loose football. The Raiders covered it, turned it into a touchdown. We're tied at 7 as Janikowski kicks it away. Line drive kick. Here's Darren Sproles with blockers in front of him. And comes up short of the 30-yard line. Stuart Schweigert with the stop, and that's where Rivers and company will take over. First down, San Diego after this. Rivers and the Raiders, first down their own 30-yard line. Andrew Pinnock up ahead of LaDainian Tomlinson, who gets the handoff. Hit at the line of scrimmage and forward to about the 32.
Well, we saw that Raider touchdown because of a fumble in the backfield. Phillip Rivers all year long has had some problems holding onto the football. Now, some of it's pressure. You know, those aren't his fault when he gets pressured like that, gets hit. There's been a few fumbled exchanges. But today, you got to give that to Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp was 3 yards into the San Diego backfield, tripping up Phillip Rivers trying to make a handoff. That shouldn't happen.
LT again on 2nd and 8. And brought to a stop at about the 34. Jay Richardson and Warren Sapp combining to bring him to a halt, and it will be 3rd and 6.
This is the 31st ranked run defense in the National Football League. And obviously they're trying to go out on a high note today, as they aren't giving Tomlinson anything at all here in the early going. These guys are giving up over 147 yards a game, and LT can't get anything.
San Diego has 14 rushing yards on the day. LT has 12 of them. Third and 6, quick pass incomplete. Pass intended for Chris Chambers. That'll bring on the punting unit for San Diego.
And that's Phillip Rivers. That pass was low and away. Chambers was open, but Phillip Rivers just didn't get it to him.
Number 5, Mike Cyphers in punt formation. Number 15,
Johnny Lee Higgins is number 15, and he'll be deep for the Oakland Raiders. Mike Cyphers set to kick it away. Oh, what a kick. Fair catch called for and made by Higgins at about his own 12-yard line. 3:05 to play. First quarter. 7-7 Chargers and the Raiders. Here's the AFC playoff picture. San Diego wants to hold on to that 3rd seed. They would play either Cleveland or Tennessee, whichever team qualifies for that 6th and final playoff spot, while Jacksonville would take on the number 4 seed, Pittsburgh. All of that still to be determined, although the Steelers are trailing Baltimore right now. First down from his own 48, from his own 50, from his 35. Russell now with the worst field position of the day, and Rhodes running hard out to the 20-yard line.
Oh, but he's got a friend in Dominique Rhodes. Man, he has come out of the gates, and he is running hard. I think that game he had last week against Jacksonville, a tough run defense. Again, he gets a good lead block behind his fullback, Justin Griffith. But it's the way he's fighting and twisting, and every run he's finishing, he's the guy that's moving forward.
Dominique Rhodes, 34 rushing yards already on 2nd and 3. Here he comes again.
And again, look at that.
Oh, bursts across the 25 to the 27-yard line and a first down.
I'm sure Lane Kiffin is thinking, man, where has this been all year up to the last 2 weeks of the season? Again, nothing going inside, but the Raider offensive linemen keep pushing the pile, and he's able to rub off of it and bounce free for a couple more yards. And man, does Jamarcus Russell need a few first downs by running the football.
On first down now. Rhodes buried at about the 27.
Well, Stephen Cooper anticipated the snap count of Jamarcus Russell, and he times it perfectly. Watch him coming in here, 54. Look at that.
Wow.
He knows Russell's snap count. He has figured it out in a short period of time. He guessed on that one, and he guessed right. Now, an experienced quarterback will put a hard count on a guy like that and get him off sides big time.
Loss of 1 makes it 2nd and 11. Little movement on this side.
False start. Offense. Number 89. 5-yard penalty.
Ronald Curry guilty.
You know, we were
Second down.
talking about the snap count of Jamarcus Russell and Cooper hearing it. Let's see if we can hear it. Boy, Stephen Cooper really timed that as well as you can do it. That's where, when you've got a young quarterback, a lot of times the offensive lineman in the huddle will tell him, hey, vary the snap count. Don't go on 2 all the time. Don't get into a pattern.
2nd and 16. Rhodes again. Running room. 30. And out to about the 33-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 12 on the play.
You know, defense is so much about emotion and intensity and wanting to fly to the football. And I think that's the side of the football that has the hardest time gearing it up in a football game that maybe isn't the most important game you play. And I'm sure Norv Turner is hoping that somehow his defense is able to muster up enough intensity to play effectively.
3rd and 5, and we got some movement up front, and it's going to back the Raiders up.
Barry Sims all by himself.
5-yard
Man, that's a
penalty.
horrible feeling.
3rd down.
You know, Dan, when we were talking to Lane Kiffin, and we said we're going to spend a good amount of time today talking about Jamarcus Russell and how he played in college and how he has progressed. And I said,
Right.
what about you as a coach? And I found it interesting when he said, you know, the big difference at this level is you think all these players are going to be professionals, and it shocks me how many unprofessional players there are.
They need coaching.
It's the end of the first quarter. We're tied at 7. We're back to Oakland after this. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Indeed, on behalf of Dan and for all of us here at CBS, and particularly our terrific crew here in Oakland this week, Happy New Year to you and yours. 3rd and 10.
Love that sound.
Russell throwing over the middle, incomplete. Curry, the intended receiver, and they'll have to kick it away.
Antonio Cromartie running right with Ronald Curry. And again, that look, you know, just Russell tried to guide that ball in. He just doesn't look, his throwing motion looks a little awkward on those short and intermediate passes.
It's too bad Antonio Cromartie hasn't had a better year.
Oh, yeah. 10 interceptions, 3 returns for TDs. I'd say he's doing
Been okay.
a little okay.
Buster Davis is deep for the kick from Shane Leckler, who's on his way to the Pro Bowl. And on the run, diving for the ball at the 33-yard line is Buster Davis. And we have a penalty marker back at around the 30-yard line.
Boy, that's good hustle by Buster Davis. That ball hits the ground. That might have cost San Diego another 10 yards.
During the kick, personal foul, grasping face mask, receiving team, number 51. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Norv Turner is going to see his club backed up. While we have a moment, we'll remind you, Wednesday, Dave's back and all new for the new year. Don't miss the return of the Late Show with David Letterman. It's all new starting Wednesday here on CBS.
Well, right now for San Diego, they've got to be going in this huddle. We've got to get our running game going. We got to break LT loose. He's got a 2-yard per carry average going, 6 carries for a dozen yards.
Right now, he is leading the league in rushing by about 103 yards over Adrian Peterson. LT.
guarantee right now, Greg, he's leading the league in frustration. The Raiders aren't giving him anything. They are manhandling this Charger offensive line right now. And there's Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders.
You know, Dan, Lane Kiffin said he had hoped that he would be winning with running and great defense this year, and that hasn't happened.
No, this defense has underperformed statistically this year. They just haven't played anywhere near the level that they played last year.
Outside. Oh, popping around in the air and incomplete. Pass intended for Antonio Gates, but only about 50 people had a shot at it.
Well, Michael Huff was one of the guys involved.
Antonio Gates, the intended receiver, was broken up by number 24.
Now take a look. That's Michael Huff. He gets a great break on the ball. He gets his left hand on it, but look how well Gates kept it alive. Antonio almost turned this thing into a reception.
Also almost turned it into an interception.
Yeah, because Kirk Morrison, the last guy to the party, almost got in on it.
3rd and 10. Rivers ducks out of trouble on the run. It's going to go down before he reaches the 20-yard line.
And there's a good example, Greg, of what we talked about. If Phillip Rivers is forced out of the pocket with that bad knee, you can see how awkward he looks. And when he was running to his left, no way he could plan on that left leg to throw the ball. Take a look right here. Now, he can't get into a position to do much of anything, and he's just going to sit down and punt it away.
Warren Sapp, the first Raider to reach him, and Johnny Lee Higgins is back for another Mike Cyphers kick. Oh, Cyphers gets it off another good one. This is Higgins from his own 27. There's a block in the back as he gets across the 30 to about the 33, where Brandon Seiler makes the tackle.
Between Cyphers and Leckler, we may have the two best punters in football putting on a show for us today, Greg.
It's a 54-yard punt.
Leckler of the Raiders is the punter going to the Pro Bowl.
Kasim Osgood is on the ground.
Ooh, and what,
There's no
man,
foul
what a
for Nelly
loss
will
this
block
would
on the
be for
receiving
San
team.
Diego
Timeout.
if this is a bad injury.
Osgood, special teams Pro Bowler, still on the ground. We'll check on him and be right back.
Welcome back to Oakland, everybody. Here's Kasim Osgood right here. Watch him. He's actually going to get his legs taken out from under him by his own man right here. Dobbins upends him, and he lands right on his tailbone. And he got up and he walked off, and it looks like he's going to be fine. That just looked like a landing that was a big owie. That hurt.
On first down, once again, Dominique Rhodes back at it across the 40. Is there a loose ball? It belongs to the Raiders. 13 minutes to play in the first half to James Brown in New York. JB.
Greg and Dan, you know Pittsburgh is fighting for the 3rd seed, but it won't happen this way. Ravens running back Corey Ross, 32 yards up the gut. Nice shift move there to pay dirt. 17-0 Baltimore. Baltimore trying to end a 9-game losing streak. Back to Greg and Dan.
JB, Troy Polamalu not in the lineup. Ben Roethlisberger on the bench. Tough road for the Steelers today. Rhodes straight ahead up to the 45.
Well, you said a tough road for the Steelers. We got a tie ball game here, but it's pretty apparent that the Oakland Raiders are trying to go out this season on a high note because they are playing tough. They are playing hard, and especially the running of Dominique Rhodes in this offensive line. Rhodes has more yardage than the entire San Diego offense by 17 yards. And he has, you can hear him pounding in there, clear up here in the broadcast booth.
First down, Russell to throw. Running out of time on the run and gets tripped up, and he's down at the 43-yard line. Sean Merriman.
Well, imagine Sean Merriman getting a sack. The question is whether or not he got back to the line of scrimmage or not. If he gets back to the line,
Lost 2
no,
on the play.
it's going to be a loss of 2, so that's an official sack.
So that's 12.5 on the year for Merriman.
He pads his total. And it didn't take a whole lot. Sean Merriman really just got an arm and took one of the legs of Jamarcus Russell out, and down he went.
Slipping as he got underway was Dominique Rhodes, and it'll be 3rd down and long. You know, let's go back to what Norv Turner was talking about, why that number 3 slot was important. What's left unsaid is nobody wants to play the Jacksonville Jaguars.
No, but nobody's going to say that. Right. Nobody's going to come out and say it. Norv Turner's not going to say that. But Norv makes a great point to his team when he said, hey, let's revisit recent history, which means last year where the Indianapolis Colts were the 3 seed, and they end up hosting the championship game because the first 2 seeds, San Diego and Baltimore, go down in flames.
3rd and 13. Straight drop for Russell. Screen to Rhodes. And this one doesn't go very far either, and the Raiders are going to have to kick. Well, that screen came off a lot better than the first one.
Igor Olshansky wasn't the intended receiver on this one. Again, Jamarcus Russell has a full offseason in store. He's got to be here every day. He's got to be in the offseason program. He's got to spend countless hours with Kiffin and his staff, and we'll judge this guy next year.
Buster Davis is deep. Well, look at this boomer by Lecco. Let it bounce inside the 5 and run down at about the 1-yard line, maybe the 2. Chris Johnson, 5th-year defensive back out of Louisville, comes up with the special teams play for the Oakland Raiders, and Phillip Rivers and the Chargers will start in the hole with 10:01 to play in the first half. Welcome back to Oakland. Raider fans, young and old.
And Greg, I got to give it up to them. They're here today. There's a great crowd on hand. They're into the game. Their team is 4-11. There are a lot of teams in this league at 4-11 have a lot more empty seats than this.
Chargers have had some problems their last few possessions. Gerard Warren comes charging through.
Boy, and there's a good example of
Offside.
once you get that much
Defense.
bulk
Number
moving
61.
in one direction.
Unabated to the quarterback.
It's tough to get it to
penalty.
stop.
You know, in
First
their last 3 possessions, San Diego has had 2 punts and a fumble. How about Jamarcus Russell? We asked him the big difference between college and pro. He says, at this level, I found out they're as big as I am on defense. And he is big. 1st and 5. LT. Almost broke free at the 20-yard line. Stuart Schweigert with the stop. James Brown in New York. JB.
Hey, Greg and Dan, Pittsburgh has narrowed the gap with Baltimore thanks to a pass interference call to put the ball on the 2-yard line. Charlie Batch hands off to Najee Davenport, a 1-yard TD run. It's now 17-7 Baltimore in the second. Back to Greg and Dan.
All right, James, thank you. You can bet Norv Turner's got an assistant keeping an eye on that game. On 1st down, all kinds of movement.
Well, now it's a motion penalty on the
that was Andrew
Chargers.
Number 34.
Andrew Pinnock starting
penalty.
out of the backfield.
1st down.
Andrew Pinnock is taking the place of Lorenzo Neal, who's still out with a broken leg, and
another of the Pro Bowlers.
Yes, but he's been playing well. Pinnock has really been playing good football in relief of Lorenzo Neal. That Norv Turner is hoping that Neal can come back later in the playoffs. Doesn't think he's going to be able to play next week in the first round, but maybe later in the divisional round, or if they're lucky enough to make it to the conference championship.
San Diego's already been penalized 50 yards in this game. On 1st and 15, Rivers running out of time and goes down. Derek Burgess on top of him, but once again, not a very mobile Phillip Rivers in the back.
No, that's an understatement. I think we're really getting a good look at how reduced Phillip Rivers' mobility is. When he is forced to go now, he stumbles over his own player, but he got his feet back underneath him and then started to run a little bit, and they just gave out. You know, he got his balance after tripping over his own guy, got started again, and then just collapsed. Wow, that is
shows you a little of the Charger frustration.
Well, that's not the way they've been playing lately.
2nd and 22, and LT stopped at about the 10.
I mean, this is a team, the Chargers, that are on a roll. They've won 9 of their last 11 games. They've been smoking people down the stretch, and this is really uncharacteristic.
They have beaten Oakland 8 straight times. They have won 2 consecutive AFC West titles and 3 of the last 4.
Now, this was a short work week for San Diego after putting a whooping on Denver Monday night, 23-3.
Darren Sproles is in the backfield on 3rd and 20. The give is to Sproles. Sproles across the 15, across the 20, to about the 22 or the 23-yard line, but that will force a punt.
Boy, kudos to this Raider defense, though. A lot of these San Diego mistakes are the results of pressure that's being applied by the guys in silver and black.
Just a little while ago during a timeout, you were talking about how big a role emotion plays on defense.
And right now, you can clearly see that Oakland is a team that has it, and San Diego is a team that doesn't.
Johnny Lee Higgins set for the kick from Seifert. Higgins, penalty marker flies. Higgins from his own 25. Trying to reverse field, and he goes down at about the 22 or the 21. Steve Gregory with the tackle.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 31. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
So we get a timeout, 7:01 to play, first half. Chargers 7, Raiders 7. Raiders start from their own 11-yard line. Dominique Rose, who will sleep well tonight, out to the 15. Ryan Bingham with the stop.
You talked earlier about San Diego really keeping an eye on what Pittsburgh is doing. The reality of that is simply this. If Pittsburgh loses and San Diego loses, San Diego still keeps the 3 seed.
Yep.
Take a look at that right there. And remember, that's those 26 yards of Tomlinson only because he had that one good run on their last possession. Prior to that, it was nothing.
2nd and 6, here comes Dominique. Had up a good head of steam, and all of a sudden it came to a halt at the 18-yard line, courtesy of Matt Williams.
Well, the one thing about Tomlinson and the San Diego running game, they have played games before where they've been stymied. They won't go away from it. It's not like they're going to abandon the running game, and that's the end of that. They will keep handing it to 21.
You don't dare give up on 21.
No. Sooner or later, he will get loose.
3rd and 3 now for Russell. Going to throw for it. Over the middle. Got his man across the 30. That's tight end John Madsen, and that's a first down.
And boy, was Madsen wide open. Working into this San Diego Jones. Madsen is right there in the slot, and he is totally neglected by San Diego.
Good hands.
Well, good hands on a pass that was a little behind him. He had to go back and get it. And again, Jamarcus Russell looks to me like he's guiding the ball instead of just throwing it and letting it go.
First down, the Raider 34, Dominique Rose.
I think Jamarcus Russell has got to get to the point here where he just trusts himself and just let it go. That almost ended up being an incompletion to a guy totally wide open.
Well, you've got to think, for a youngster, that was probably an earth-shaking experience last week for him.
Yeah, it would have shattered a lot of people's confidence. Now, everyone who knows this young man says he's made of steel.
Once again, spinning across the 40 to about the 42. Now, let's keep in mind, not everyone, these number 1 picks, not everyone, every quarterback is successful in his first NFL start. It's not always burst upon the scene and all of a sudden you're a national hero.
Well, Greg, look at this. You talk about it, and there it is. There's 4 pretty notable young men. And take a look that only John Elway won his first career start with a quarterback rating of 0. How about that?
Nice work if you can get it. 3rd and 2. Going to give it to Dominique Rhodes. And Rhodes is going to be brought up short of a first down. So the field position game continues as the punting unit comes on.
That must have been John Elway's first indication that things were going to go pretty well for him during his career when he won a game, his first game, with a quarterback rating of 0.
Buster Davis lead for the Chargers.
That doesn't happen very often.
You saw Shane Leckler's numbers. Leckler with a 49.1 average on the season. Kicking it away to Buster Davis again. All the way to the 5 and into the end zone. That's a 58-yard kick. 3:06 to play in the first half. Raiders and Chargers tied at 7. Welcome back to Oakland. How's that for a face for the holidays, huh?
Coach Lane Kiffin of the Oakland.
The youngest head coach in the National Football League at age 32. First down from the 20-yard line. Rivers from the shotgun. Steps up, throws, sideline, and out of bounds. Antonio Gates. Are they going to call that a completion? They are.
Oh, he's going to rule a force out.
Oh.
The side judge is going to rule a force out.
Antonio Gates on reception.
That's Michael Banks. He ran up there. His first indication was to rule a force out. Now let's see if he gets overruled.
There is a genuine council going on down there.
You could see Banks come up there, number 72. And
Here comes Terry
The play's
McAuliffe.
ruled a completed pass. First down.
Yep, he's ruling a force out. The question is, would Antonio Gates have come down in? I would say San Diego caught a pretty good break there. The way Antonio Gates is elevating, it's a close call. It is really, really close. It's not a reviewable play, so don't worry about it. Once it's ruled a force out.
I kind of wonder if he had control of the ball as he came down with it.
That's reviewable. Now that is reviewable, but the force out part of it isn't.
And here comes the challenge flag.
Right.
That makes sense. 2:49 to play in the first half.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's the real Lane Kiffin, and he's throwing a flag.
Oakland is challenged that the receiver lost possession of the ball on the force out.
Right. Now that is reviewable. The force out part is not.
Gates came down one-handed with this, but let's see if he's had complete control. Nope. He lost it.
I want one more look. You can have it shift around, but you gotta when you land. Does he put this ball away?
Watch it. It's out of his hand right there.
It is out of his hand. You're exactly right. He had it in his hand. And then it came out of his hand.
Dan,
I think this is going to be a successful challenge by
right.
Lane Kiffin.
I'm right about once a year. It's kind of frustrating that we wait until week 17 for that to happen.
Well,
this year.
hey, wait a minute. Aren't you jumping the gun? Don't you need Terry McAuliffe?
No. I'm
to
pretty
tell
sure.
you?
I'm pretty sure about this one. And you know what?
Really?
Even if Terry McAuliffe says I'm wrong, I'm right.
Watch Gates. Gates has it in his hand. Right there. It's in control. He's got it. He still has it.
And it's out.
There it comes out of his hand. And Antonio Gates is on the ground right there, out of bounds, without possession of the football. That is pretty much of a no-brainer.
Thanks.
And a good. Well, I didn't mean it that way. But I think we just had a great look at it of him being on the ground out of bounds
Instead of
and not having possession of the ball.
Instead of the result of some terrific insight, it's pretty much of a no-brainer.
Boy, you're making me feel bad.
That's all right.
You enjoy it. Don't kid yourself. But that's a very good challenge by Lane Kiffin.
And that would nullify a 26-yard gain.
I'm surprised it's taking Terry McCauley this long to
Here he comes.
figure that out. That looked to be open and shut.
After review, the receiver lost control of the ball in his left hand. It is an incomplete pass. 2nd and 10 on the 20-yard line.
So here in
Oakland
week
is not
17
charged
for the
with
season, the score is Deardorff 35 and Gumbel 1.
Wait a minute. Did I say it was a cat? I must have missed something here.
No.
I was being prudent. I wanted to look at it several times.
I'm using the early and
But you
often
did get in
rule.
first. You got in first. I'll give you credit for that. You got in first.
Good challenge by Lane Kiffin.
It most certainly was.
Now it's 2nd and 10, back at the 20-yard line. Philip Rivers started this game 4 out of 4 throwing. He is since 0 for 4. Pulling it down, now throws and got his man across the 25 to the 29, and that's Gates.
Antonio Gates from Philip Rivers to the 29.
The all-world tight end Antonio Gates making another Pro Bowl trip. And this was a good job by Philip Rivers of staying alive. He didn't leave the pocket, but he moves up just a little bit and just enough to find number 85. And again, even he was pretty well covered. San Diego is having to fight for every inch against these Raiders.
LT fighting for a first down, and he is right at the 30-yard line. And here comes a penalty marker.
LaDainian Tomlinson, the ball carrier, penalty flag on the play.
Raiders, Hiram Eugene is pretty sure this one's against the Chargers.
Right now, I'm telling you right now, you better learn your lesson there, Jay Richardson, about what happened last week to Warren Sapp. Do not get in the face of an official and start screaming.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 68. The offense made the
Dillon,
first
Pro Bowl.
down. After a 15-yard penalty, it'll be 1st and 10, San Diego.
Well, they're saying he got the first down, and this was a dead ball foul after the first down. So they're going to move San Diego back 15 yards, and it's going to be first down. If I understood him correctly.
Well, I wasn't all that convinced that he reached
I
the
thought
30-yard line.
it sure looked close enough to a measurement.
Sure.
For a measurement to me. I
First
agree.
and 10 for the Chargers in their 15.
So we come to 2 minutes to play. In an unusual first half, turnovers have led to touchdowns on each side. We're tied at 7. And Boomer, Coach Cowher, all the latest NFL scores and highlights on the Sprint halftime report. Here comes LT trying to turn the corner, run out of bounds at about the 26-yard line.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Boy, good job that time by Fabian Washington. He had to contain to that side, and he was out there all by his little lonesome self.
11 to the 26. First and 10 for the Chargers.
The freight train Tomlinson is coming at you, and luckily he had the sidelines, but he had enough of an angle to run him out.
And yet another milestone for LaDainian Tomlinson. I'll tell you about it in a second. First down. Rivers throwing far side, got his man across the 40. That's Chris Chambers, and that's another first down.
Now that time working against Asamoah, and that was a good example of Philip Rivers throwing to the back shoulder of Chris Chambers. Chambers reacted back and made the catch.
Throwing to a side of the field that Lane Kiffin says they just don't throw at Asamoah. Rivers stepping up, throwing, crossing pattern, complete. Buster Davis is down inside the 45-yard line.
And he did not get out of bounds.
So we get a timeout called with a minute 16 to play in the first half.
There you see the target line for Nate Kading, which would be, if he could get down to the 32-yard line, that would be for a 50-yarder. But keep in mind, he's got a sore left leg.
There's LT, 21st player in history with 14,000 scrimmage yards. I'd say Chris Clemens jumped the gun just
Offside,
a tad.
defense, number 58, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Unabated, uninvited.
Now that is, we have seen 10 penalties so far here in the first half. 6 for the Raiders, 4 for the Chargers. That's just, and we've seen a couple by the Raider defensive line. We saw Gerard Warren on their last possession. That time Clemens, guys just, I mean, they're not a little offsides, they're way off.
First and 5. Rivers throwing far side, and that's complete inside the 30, close to the 25. Gates came down with it.
Yeah, now Philip Rivers is starting to throw the football, and boy, you can see when he gets some protection, he is spot on in where he's placing the ball.
First down, clock continues to move on towards 50 seconds. Sproles breaking free at the 20 to about the 19, maybe the 18 before Michael Huff brought him down. And we get a timeout called, second of the half by the Chargers. 45 seconds to play here in the first half. San Diego 7, Oakland 7. Chargers down to 1 timeout. Raiders have all 3 of theirs remaining. Sproles in the backfield. On 2nd and 3. Rivers going to throw for it. Going to go to the end zone. It is caught. Chris Chambers pulled it down for the touchdown.
Well, that time it started with Rivers getting fabulous pass protection, and then somehow Chris Chambers got wide open in that corner of the end zone. Chris Chambers working that time against Fabian Washington. Man, he was wide open.
Second touchdown pass of the day for Philip Rivers. He has 21 on the year. Kading's kick for the extra point is good. And with 38 seconds to play in the first half, Chambers caps an 80-yard touchdown drive with a 19-yard catch.
Well, like I said, it starts with great pass protection. Look at this. Philip Rivers just able to stand and step up into it. And Washington somehow lost track of Chambers and didn't realize that he had dropped a couple yards back behind him. And by the time Washington goes to react to the football, he's too far in front and can't get back in on the play. And again, that was a beautiful all-hands catch by Chris Chambers. He had one go through his hands earlier, but look at him elevate, go up to the highest point, and then that is all hands as he brings it to his body, only when he falls to the ground.
Chris Chambers acquired from the Miami Dolphins earlier this season, which must have been like going from upper Minnesota to Honolulu in the middle of winter.
It was, if you're calling that an upgrade, yes, I would call that an upgrade. And boy, look at what it did for these Chargers. Antonio Gates will tell you that the addition of Chris Chambers on the outside is going to pay big dividends on that you can't double Gates all the time.
So here's Chris Carr from his own 13-yard line. Oof. You hear that one from up here. Knocked down at the 28-yard line by Steve Gregory, and Jamarcus Russell has 3 timeouts and 33 seconds with which to work.
You know, I can't help but talk about Chris Chambers and think about Bill Parcells taking over Miami, and to think a year ago, Chris Chambers and Wes Welker were the primary receivers for the Miami Dolphins.
How'd that Wes Welker work out for New England?
Yes, and how did Chambers work out for San Diego, and how did it work out for Miami?
Russell on first down. Throws. That's Zach Miller, the tight end, out across the 35 to about the 39, and the timeout is called. And by the way, let's throw our congratulations out to Bob Kraft and Bill Belichick and those New England Patriots for just a superlative performance all season long.
16-0. They took the best shot everybody had. They got the A game from every team they played all season long. And at the same time, I've got to give kudos to Tom Coughlin and the New York Giants.
Oh, yeah.
They played them so much harder than I thought they were last night. They played with passion They played with a lot of intensity.
And Dan, I've gotten really tired of watching those old Miami Dolphins pop champagne every time an undefeated team loses.
Well,
but that's me.
I know, I understand. And some of them are, I think, a little harsher than others and not wanting to share.
Russell on the move, throws once again. It's Miller, and Miller looking for the sideline and gets out of bounds. Stops the clock with 19 seconds to play.
Well, the kick line for Sebastian Janikowski, we saw it was 32 for Kading. We're bumping it back to 38 for Janikowski, who will try. He'll try anything up to 60 yards and longer.
He has hit from 54 yards twice this season.
Yeah, that 38 would be about 56. He actually, if they get just to the 40, it's conceivable that he'll give one a whirl.
2nd and 2. Oakland with 2 timeouts remaining. Russell steps up, throws a bullet over the middle inside the 45 to Miller once again, who's caught 3 straight, and a timeout called with 14 seconds to play.
Again, let's just look at this pass from Jamarcus Russell. It's lower than he would have liked. You don't give your receiver a chance to do anything when the ball is only 6 or 8 inches off the ground. Again, it's a completion. Nice job that time by Zach Miller, the rookie, who's going to be a fine tight end in this league. And it's a successful catch. But again, it's just that's where no training camp and very few reps. That's where it shows itself. Completed pass, but it really wasn't where it should have been.
Lane Kiffin says of Jamarcus Russell, we have really high expectations for him, and we expect him to play great.
Oh, and I expect him to be a fine player in this league. You can't say he's going to be a Pro Bowler. You don't know.
He's completed 5 in a row. 14 seconds to play. He's going to give it to Dominique Rhodes, and Rhodes to the 35. And clock continues to move here.
And they're going to just
3,
stop it for Janikowski.
2, 1, and finally stop the clock.
Always a little drama, letting it go down to 1 second.
Dominique Rhodes, the ball carrier. Sebastian Janikowski on to attempt the field goal.
He has attempted more 50-yard field goals than anybody in this league, and he's 50% from beyond 50 yards. That is pretty darn good. That is pretty good. I mean, a couple of those were 57-yarders. He didn't make those, but you know, those are wear on your average when you're trying nearly 60-yard field goals.
Now, Antonio Cromartie is back in the end zone for San Diego. We were in Minnesota when he set an NFL record, returning a missed field goal 109 yards for a touchdown. This one is from 53 yards out. On its way. Looks good. With room to spare.
The only way Cromartie was going to return that is if he went 8 rows up into the stands to get it out of the popcorn vendor's hands.
14-10, San Diego at halftime. The Sprint halftime report is next. To Oakland, everyone, where San Diego leads the Raiders by a score of 14-10. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, once again, Happy New Year to you and yours from all of us here at CBS. The first time these teams met back in October, LaDainian Tomlinson ran wild, 198 yards. He's been held to just 38 today. It could be much, much worse for the Raiders, but they seem to know where to concentrate their energy.
And they came back and got a field goal rather right there at the very end of the first half. So some positive momentum for the Raiders offensively. 38 yards on the ground for LT. I just have a hard time believing that he's going to not do any more than just say like double that up. He's got a big run somewhere there just waiting to bust out.
How about a little momentum for Jamarcus Russell, who finished that first half with 5 straight completions to set up the field goal?
And he was in desperate need of a little momentum, Greg. So let's see if that parlays into any success here in the second half. And let's not kid ourselves. There may be a little scoreboard watching going on with the Chargers as they see Baltimore absolutely pummeling the Steelers.
Darren Sproles deep for the kick. Sproles on the run at the 4-yard line. Fake the reverse to Cromartie, and here comes Sproles to the 40. Midfield, trying to get past Janikowski, run out of bounds at the 35. Thompson. Darren Sproles has returned a kickoff and a punt for a touchdown this year and almost busted this one.
Well, I think it froze the Raiders coverage team a little bit when he faked that thing to Cromartie. But look at Janikowski. Look at the sea bass go. I mean, that is, hey, he showed me a little something there. Sebastian Janikowski did a great job of cutting off the field so that Darren Sproles had to go to the sideline.
The sea bass.
Hey, that was a heck of a job by Janikowski. I didn't know he could run like that.
First down, San Diego at the Oakland 34. We've been talking field position all day. This is great for Rivers and the Chargers. Rivers to throw. Tip. Incomplete. Almost intercepted at the 30-yard line by Robert Thomas, the 6th-year linebacker out of UCLA.
Philip Rivers pass.
This ball just wouldn't stay in the air long enough for Thomas to make a play on it. There it is. It gets swacked right there at the line of scrimmage. Not quite sure. It might have been Turdell Sands who got a hand on it. And there is Sebastian Janikowski, who did his best, Carl Lewis imitation there with his
for oxygen. Here's LT to this side. Around the 30, 25 and out of bounds.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Boy, it's such a cat and mouse game when you're back there in the secondary and you see number 21 gets the edge on you. And that's what's happening right here. He gets outside the tackle of Michael Huff. Okay, but over here on the side, it is all about keeping contained. Can he keep that contained? He finally bumped it out of bounds, and there is an updated look at the rushing leader. Who's going to win the rushing title this year?
Here comes LT again. Oh, nowhere. Jay Richardson, the 5th-round draft pick out of Ohio State, was right there to meet 21.
And Jay Richardson, I know you're a rookie from Ohio State, but the throat slash gesture is no longer cool and not very acceptable in the NFL. And don't make a habit out of it, because your pocketbook will suffer.
2nd and 10. Rivers from the shotgun over the middle. Gates is wide open inside the 20 to about the 18, maybe the 17.5-yard line. A pickup of 5 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Yeah, you saw that LaDainian Tomlinson and that comfortable lead that he has over Adrian Peterson in the rushing contest. He's got a 133-yard advantage right up to the moment.
San Diego's red zone numbers.
They'd like more trips, but you can't beat the productivity. 2 touchdowns for 2 trips.
On 3rd down, Rivers throwing, crossing pattern, incomplete. Vincent Jackson was coming over the middle, and that will bring Nate Kading in the field goal unit onto the field. You know, Dan, we talked about Antonio Cromartie returning that missed field goal, 109 yards. That was the same day that Adrian Peterson rang up a pretty good number of rushing yards.
Yeah, if you call 296 to be a fair number. And against this San Diego run defense that, for the year has only given up an average of 106 yards a game. Imagine what that 106 number would be if you subtracted what the 378 they gave up to the Vikings.
Kading from 36 yards out is perfect. 12:51 to play in the 3rd, and San Diego's lead is 7 at 17-10. Back in Oakland, California, where the Raiders have now fallen behind by a touchdown at 17-10, and Jamarcus Russell antsy to get back onto the field. He is 7 of 9 on the day throwing the football. There's Chris Carr awaiting the kick.
Chris Carr has had a couple of really good returns to start this ball game off.
This one's going to back him up to the 1-yard line. Oh, this is going to be one of them. He doesn't reach the 20. Brought down at the 17 by Cletus Gordon, number 24. We're in the middle of Raider Nation. They're looking for something from their offense after this. The infamous black hole. First down for Russell. Quick drop, quick pass, disconnection. Jerry Porter was on this side of the field. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, when he looked out there, Russell must have thought he was seeing double, because right beside Jerry Porter was Antonio Cromartie. That was, I'm assuming that Russell threw that away because he saw the tight coverage.
Really interesting to hear Norv Turner say that on the other side of the field, Quentin Jammer, with 1 pick this year, he feels has had a Pro Bowl year.
Yeah, and really all the attention has gone to Cromartie, who deservedly is going to Honolulu.
The pitch to Dominique Rose. Just to the 20-yard line.
Again, we've been talking about Rhodes and how hard he's running. Listen to this collision. Wow, that was really Brandon McKinney. He's playing nose tackle, Dave, because Jamal Williams is sitting this one out again with the bad ankle.
Norv Turner with an eye on the postseason beginning next week.
Yeah, Williams didn't play last week against Denver either.
3rd and 6. Russell on the move, looking, throwing, sidelines, incomplete.
Well, that's where his receiver, it would be a big help if his receiver was in bounds. Well, this penalty is going to be declined, and Oakland's in a punting situation.
So here's Darren Sproles, mentioned earlier. What a game he had against the Indianapolis Colts. He returned a kickoff, 89 yards for a touchdown, and a punt, 45 yards for a TD. This one he's going to pull in at his own 30-yard line. Squirts through to the 40. Oh, and yanked down at about the 44-yard line by Tony Stewart, number 86.
Well, this is why players work on strengthening their neck muscles, just for a situation like that. The percent of us that are married to brunettes, that's we have to give that answer.
On 1st down. We give this to LT, straight ahead. On that last play before the break, it looks like the Raiders got a break.
Boy, Norv Turner let the officials have it during the break, and this was why. From the other angle, it didn't look like a face mask, but from this angle, wow, look how Tony Stewart grabs the face mask of Darren Sproles, spins his head all the way around, and yet there was no flag. Norv was hot. And from that angle, you know, we couldn't see it from the other one. That one, it was pretty evident.
On 2nd and 4, LT nowhere to go at midfield.
This has to be one frustrating afternoon for number 21.
Kirk Morrison with the stop.
He's had so many runs where there has been absolutely nothing. Now he's run it to the right a couple times and gotten outside and made a little mileage out there. But for a team that loves to run to the left, he's had very little going for him to the left side of the center.
198 yards back in the Week 6 victory. Sproles now replacing LT on the field on 3rd and 3. Rivers quick over the middle. Oh, what a grab by Antonio Gates for 1st down.
Man, how good is this guy? How good is Antonio Gates? Phillip Rivers gets rid of it, but the ball comes out behind of where he wanted it to be. And, hey, I'll just stick my right hand out and make a little one-handed catch. And that thing was smoking, too.
Amazing.
That ball only covered about 10 yards. It had a little juice on it when it got to Gates.
Not bad for a guy who didn't play any football in college.
No, but he showed those basketball hands there.
1st and 10. Deep down the sideline for Chris Chambers, out of bounds. Stanford Rout was with him.
I don't know if Phillip Rivers just had that come off his hand funny, but very few passes are completed 5 yards out of bounds. That's where that ball ended up.
Your insight staggers me sometimes.
Well, you'd like to put it in a position where your guy can make a play on it, but that ball came off of there really funky.
2nd and 10. LT. Whoa! Yanked down by Tredell Sands.
Number 90, Tredell Sands with the hit on LaDainian
Boy, there's a run that came to a sudden
Well,
end.
yeah, what part of Tomlinson did he get up around the shoulder pads or the helmet? LT's going to cut it back to the right.
3rd and 9 from the
The arm. Looked like
Did
the
he
arm.
just grab him by the shoulder pad and pull him around? That is one heck of a strong tackle by Tredell Sands. You don't see many one-arm tackles on LT.
Now the Raider defense looking for a big stop here on 3rd and 9. Rivers steps up, going deep, incomplete.
And Rivers is down. Tyler Brayton was the Raider back in there.
And Philip Rivers giving it back to the crowd that was cheering him when he was flat on his stomach.
Vincent Jackson, the intended receiver.
Now Philip Rivers steps up into the pocket and then gets driven into the ground.
Mike Cyphers.
Tyler Brayton right on the edge of what you can do with a quarterback. You are not allowed to pile drive them into the ground and then with full force drive your shoulder into them.
Let's see what Mike Cyphers can do here. Pops it up, fair catch called for and made by Higgins at the 15-yard line.
Johnny Lee Higgins with a fair catch.
Philip Rivers not really in a mood to take any taunting today. The Chargers are looking for that number 3 seed. 8:58 to play in the 3rd. Raiders with a 17-10 lead. Jamarcus Russell and the Raiders taking over at their own 15-yard line. The fake to Dominique Rhodes. Russell under pressure, going to go down back at his own 6-yard line. Giles Tucker with the sack, the rookie out of Wake Forest.
Well, Philip Rivers has had somewhat of an excitable week. Monday night out in San Diego, the Denver Broncos, he's giving it to Jay Cutler, the Denver quarterback, and then today, just moments ago, walking off the field, he kind of lets the folks here at McAfee Coliseum. Philip Rivers, a guy that is an extremely emotional player, and sometimes it bubbles out. Although that last week was really odd. Those quarterbacks have a nice little fraternity. You don't see them wheel on each other very often.
2nd and 19 after Russell sacked for the 2nd time today. Now throwing over the middle, just across the 10 to the 11, to Zach Miller, who's had a pretty good day catching the football.
Norv Turner told us yesterday that Philip Rivers' response was really to a couple of Denver Broncos who'd been on him all game long and riding him pretty hard. It's just that you just don't see one quarterback barking at the other team's quarterback the way Rivers was going after Jay Cutler. And you can say it's in response to somebody else or someone else instigated it or whatever you want to say. He was talking smack to Jay Cutler.
3rd down now. Russell with time. Penalty marker is down. Here's Miller again across the 20 to the 22-yard line. That'll be about 3 yards shy of a 1st down. And let's check the flag.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, grasping the face mask, defense number 95. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 79. Penalties offset, 3rd down.
The face mask penalty is against Sean Phillips, and the Oakland penalty is against Paul McQuiston.
Well, the good news is it gives the Raiders another chance to try to convert when they came up short and we're going to have to punt the ball. So let's see what Lane Kiffin can dial up for his rookie quarterback. And talk about a work in progress. Again, I don't know that anyone can make any sort of assumption on anything that happened last week or this week as far as what the long-term prospects are going to be for Jamarcus Russell.
3rd and 14. Russell under the gun. The ball is on the ground in the end zone. Who's got it? Touchdown. Giles Tucker has it.
Boy, Barry Sims was right there, and all he had to do was swat the ball out of the back of the end zone, and he couldn't get to it.
Dan, that looked like it was no more than a 3-man rush.
Yep. Let's take a look at it coming in here from the left. There is the strip
by Tucker.
Yep. But right there, you can see the ball is right in front of Barry Sims. So Tucker not only gets the strip, but he gets the recovery. And that is a fumble. Look at Sims. He's got it. Oh, it just grazed his fingertips.
Well, he whiffed on the block, and then he whiffed on the recovery.
Yes, it's way to make a bad situation even worse for Barry Sims.
Kading's kick is good. San Diego's lead is 24-10. Jamarcus Russell still trying to figure it out. I'll tell you one thing, quarterback doesn't have a chance when you don't even come close to blocking a guy coming in on you.
And it's something the Chargers do very well. They lead the NFL in takeaways, and that's just another example of the kind of pressure they produce.
46 takeaways. Here's Chris Carr on the move at the 7-yard line. 25, 30, out to about the 33-yard line.
Chris Carter on the kickoff return.
As we just mentioned, they lead the NFL in takeaways, and this high-pressure defense of Ted Cottrell's, this was the first matchup. Again, look how they pressure the quarterback. That time it's Merriman. They strip the ball. They go for the ball. And, boy, they put relentless. That time it's Sean Phillips. And this was just Monday night. You see Jay Cutler trying to run with the ball. And here in Week 17, this time it ends up being the kind of turnover they really love, a defensive score.
Penalty marker down before this play gets underway. Justin Griffith on the move too soon.
First down.
And it's when Greg, it's when a team is playing defense, the way the Chargers are playing defense right now, that's what you love to see going into the playoffs. And there is Ted, a guy that's been a phenomenal defensive coordinator in this league for a long time. Remember all his great years in Buffalo?
You bet.
He was in Minnesota back in 04 and 05.
First and 15. Russell hits his man across the 40 out to the 45. Zach Miller with a first down as we check in with James Brown in New York. JB.
Hey, Greg and Dan. I tell you what, Baltimore is making a rough one. Pittsburgh, take a look at their quarterback, Troy Smith, hooking up here. Good decision-making. Hooking up with DeVar Darling, 15-yard strike, 27-7. Baltimore, Smith, very poised as a young quarterback, making a rough one. Pittsburgh, back to Greg and Dan.
Not looking like a Charlie Batch kind of day, is it, James? The
Well,
Chargers clinch the number 3 seed with a win here or a Steelers loss.
And if I'm North Turner, I'll look at that score, and Phillip Rivers is done.
Jamarcus Russell on the move, got it away to Rhodes. Rhodes across midfield to about the 47 or 46-yard line of the Chargers. Nice job that time by Jamarcus Russell.
And the last pass I thought was really one of his best of the game. One he really stepped into and really delivered what looked like kind of a free and easy throwing motion.
Just let it go instead of aiming it.
Exactly right.
2nd and 3. Rhodes in the backfield. They're going to try to let him get it, and he does. To the 41. First down, Raiders. Stephen Cooper with the stop. James Brown in New York.
Greg and Dan, you know if Washington wins, they're in getting the last spot in the NFC. Clinton Portis, 20 carries, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's the second of the day. Skins on top of the Cowboys by 17 in the third. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf.
JB, I know the Dallas Cowboys have nothing to play for today, but I'm telling you, you got to tip your hat to Joe Gibbs, who has done a very, very good job in Washington this year as the season has wound down. Rhodes.
Oh, loose ball.
Chargers say they have it. They do.
Well, there's about the only blemish on what Dominique Rhodes has been doing this afternoon. That fumble, he has had really a wonderful day running the football. Let's see how it comes out. He's got it tucked in there pretty good, but you can see the left hand looked like Stephen Cooper got in there and stripped it out.
And Clinton Hart covers for San Diego.
Yep, right there. You see Stephen Cooper got that left hand on it and pulled it away. Boy, he didn't have it loosely in there. He had it tucked in.
Michael Turner in the backfield now.
You know, you got to give Cooper credit there. I mean, that wasn't careless ball handling by Dominique Rhodes. Sometimes you just got to give credit to the other guy for making a play, and that's what Cooper did, forcing that fumble.
Wait, if I'm not mistaken, this is Michael Turner's first appearance of the day.
Yeah, it's normally been Sproles coming in to give LT a little rest.
So LT getting a little rest now. 2nd and 6.
LT might be done.
In fact, that looks like Billy Volek in at quarterback.
Yeah, and you know what? That's exactly what Norv Turner should do. He sees the fact that even if they lose today, if Pittsburgh loses at the same time.
No, it is Phillip Rivers. I'm sorry.
And even if Pittsburgh loses at the same time, they end up retaining the number 3 seed. And they see that Pittsburgh is getting destroyed by Baltimore. So really, I wouldn't plan on playing Phillip Rivers much longer, and I wouldn't play LT anymore at all if it looks like he's got the rushing title secured.
Here's Turner. Pushed back as he crosses midfield. Well, right now, LT has 1,474 yards, and Peterson 1,333. 141-yard difference, and that's without me taking my shoes off.
You're good.
I know.
Adrian Peterson's going to have a big second half. Minnesota's getting beat by Denver as we speak.
Sproles rather out of the backfield, and he spun for a loss back at the 47 or 48-yard line.
Well, here we're going to come up now with a 3rd and long. And if I ever saw a perfect time for a draw play, it's right now. I would not put Phillip Rivers in a position where somebody could fall on his leg or something like that. Norv, right now, from this moment forward, it is all about the playoffs.
3rd and 12. Sproles is in the backfield. He's going to throw it. On the move, finally got rid of it as he runs out of bounds. So with 4th and 12, Mike Cyphers will come on to kick it away. Johnny Lee Higgins will go back to return it.
And amazingly, Phillip Rivers is talking stuff to some of the Raiders defensive guy. He is a feisty son of a gun, isn't he?
Were you a talker when you played?
No, I never said a word.
You had enough of a talker lined up next to you?
Conrad Dobler did all my talking right next to me. I didn't have to do a thing.
Here's Higgins from the 6. 15, 20, 25 to the near sideline, and he could go. No, pushed out of bounds by Antonio Cromartie.
Well, San Diego was fortunate because the only guy with enough speed to keep this from being a touchdown was Cromartie. Antonio Cromartie can run. Now, so can Higgins, but he is not going to outrun Cromartie. He makes a great cut right there. And Cromartie actually had to contain on that side, and he had to recover. That's right.
Goes from backing up to turning around and running down Johnny Lee Higgins.
Now, nobody's going to outrun Antonio Cromartie. But he lost contain on that play. That's one of the reasons it ended up being such a big return.
54-yard return, first down, Raiders at the Charger 40. Russell. Short pop over the middle. Dominique Rhodes diving to the 31.
That's a heck of a play by Rhodes. Again, a pass, only about a 4-yard pass, but it was behind him. He had to stick a hand back behind him and make a one-handed catch. But it ends up being a nice 9-yard pickup.
2nd and 1, and we're in the last minute and 35 seconds of the third quarter. fakes the pitch to Rhodes. Russell with all kinds of time looking for the end zone. Touchdown! A rope to Jerry Porter. I mean, a rope.
Yes, sir. And that was a good job of Jerry Porter finding the room right between two San Diego DBs. Cromartie being one of them.
Sebastian Janikowski. The kick is good. 1:19 to play. Oakland comes to within a touchdown, 24-17. This is Jamarcus Russell's second touchdown pass of his career.
And he bought himself a lot of time getting out of the pocket. But when he found Porter coming into the open in between Marlon McCree and Cromartie, see, Cromartie's got him, but then he's turning him over. He knows he's got safety help to the inside. But the key to this is what Greg talked about. When Russell saw Porter break into the open, when he decided to deliver that ball, it got there in a hurry.
Just a little flash of what they're looking for out of Jamarcus Russell next season.
Well, everybody knew that he's got great feet. He can move. He's a threat outside the pocket. But sometimes you can't coach that. When you make a decision and you want the football to get someplace in a hurry, that's God-given talent. And that's what we just saw from Jamarcus Russell.
Lane Kiffin told us he went down to LSU, talked to people about Jamarcus Russell. He said everyone there had great respect for him, terrific respect for him as a person and for his ability.
He said he's a natural leader. People gravitate towards him. You see some flashes.
Darren Sproles for the Chargers from the 1 to the 20. Head of steam, 40, midfield, and pushed out of bounds.
Darren Sproles on the kickoff return.
Well, we are seeing a lack of coverage on the kick units for both of these teams today.
Special teams taking a holiday in Week 17.
Well, haven't we seen it around the league today? A lot of big returns
How about Andre Davis for Houston?
Devin Hester had one. Here comes the Seabass. Oh, a little shot to the head. The little guy hits the big guy. Doink. Right? I think Seabass ought to tighten his helmet up a little bit too.
San Diego now at the 45-yard line. Michael Turner, the running back behind Pinnock. He gets the handoff and is brought down after about a 3-yard pickup. And we come up on a minute to play here in the third.
But Phillip Rivers is still playing quarterback. And I wouldn't blame Norv Turner at all now for turning it over to Billy Volek. But he loves the momentum that his team has been playing with the last couple of months of the season. Volek's buttoned up. You can see he's ready to go. No baseball cap or visor on now.
On 2nd and 7, Rivers to throw. Got him inside the 25-yard line. Antonio Gates, first down, San Diego.
Man, you don't expect a tight end to cover this much ground. But that's exactly what Antonio Gates just did here. He's on the other side of the formation. He's going to run a crossing pattern all the way across the field. Michael Huff is going, are you kidding me? I got to chase this big load all the way over there, and then what do I get for it? He lands right on top of me.
That's the end of 3. Our score, 24-17. Chargers back after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Hey, Jamarcus Russell fans of the future as we get set to start the fourth quarter. Welcome back to Oakland, everyone. Along with Darren Deerdorf and the rest of our CBS Sports crew, Greg Gumbel in Oakland, where it's first down and 10 for the San Diego Chargers at the Oakland 20. Phillip Rivers still in at quarterback and penalty marker.
False start, offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty.
15.
First down.
Well, here's how we got to this point. JaMarcus Russell got off to a tough start. First play of the game, he threw an interception to Igor Olshansky. Phillip Rivers has 2 touchdown passes today. And LT is going to end up winning the NFL rushing title for the 2nd year in a row. But it won't be because the Raiders gave him anything. He has struggled today. He's got 56 yards on 16 carries. The Raider defense against the run has been tough.
1st and 15. Here's Turner. And Turner to the 20. Still on his feet. And finally wrapped up at about the 17. And remember, this has been a most interesting season for the San Diego Chargers, who changed coaches after a very successful year last year. Rough start for Norv Turner. Things were a little bit rocky, but things have turned out well for him.
Yes, they really have. See, we've got Hiram Eugene down on the field for the Raiders. We'll check on him, and we'll tell you about it when we come back.
Hiram Eugene walked off the field under his own power and then is stretched out over there as they look at him. Meanwhile, number 30, Stuart Schweigert, is in to replace him. Line of scrimmage is the Oakland 22. 2nd and 6 for the Chargers. Inside the 15 to about the 13. This game not salted away enough for Norv Turner to change quarterbacks quite yet.
Well, as long as he's doing a good job handing off like this. And again, Norv, he told us he wants the number 3 seed. He wants it badly, and he's willing to play his guys. He said all the way to the end. I said, if this game is tied halfway through the 4th quarter and you need the win, is LT still playing? He goes, absolutely.
Warren Sapp not in the game, shoulder injury. His return is questionable. Darren Sproles in the backfield on 3rd and 3. Play fake. River. Buying time, lobs it incomplete. Looked like he expected Andrew Pinnock to turn upfield. Antonio Gates wasn't quite.
Well, I'm not sure if he was wanting Pinnock to turn upfield or hoping the Gates would make a break on the ball, but the Raiders maintained good coverage on Antonio Gates. They had 2 guys locked on him, and they weren't going to let him go.
So Nate Kading, who has hit a 36-yarder, will attempt one from 31 yards. And this kick is on its way and good. So with 13:37 to play here in the 4th quarter, Chargers extend their lead to 27-17. Welcome back to Oakland.
Some Charger fans made the trip up
the coast.
They sure did. That's right. It's a good time to be a Charger fan.
Right now, they're in prime position to host next weekend against either Cleveland or Tennessee. Chris Carr from the 2. 20. Out to about the 26-yard line where Brandon Seiler, the rookie out of...
About those fires, I think will be well watched in San Diego. Part of their lives.
From the 26-yard line, Russell going to throw on 1st down. On the move. Got rid of it. 2nd and 10. Stephen Cooper applying a little pressure.
And pressure is something that this defense of the San Diego Chargers, they do very, very well. You know, if you take that one interception that JaMarcus Russell threw on the first play of the game, just a little dump off screen that he threw right to Igor Olshansky, his completion percentage is very, very good.
Yep.
His receivers have helped him out today. Some of those were a little off center, but they were completion.
2nd and 10, pass to the outside. Justin Griffith out of the backfield, making something happen, steps out of bounds, but appears to have enough for a 1st down.
Now that was a good throw by Russell. See, that was right where you want to deliver those intermediate passes, in a position where your receiver doesn't have to break stride. He can, you know, the ball's right where it ought to be. He can catch it, instantly turn his head upfield, never break stride, and then turn upfield and make something happen. A little behind, a little low, causes your receiver to have to go down and get it, stop, and it's a tackle on the spot.
Here's Dominique Rhodes. Nowhere to go, and he's buried. at about the 36-yard line. Russell in the first quarter was 2 out of 3 with that one interception. Since then, he's been 11 of 15 for 127 yards and the touchdown pass to Jerry Porter.
Now, maybe it's just me, but as he goes on, it just looks like some of that tension is out of his body. Early on, he just looked like he was guiding. He was trying to place the football instead of just letting it rip.
Second and 10. Russell throws, and this time, Griffith going to get a couple of yards out of it, up to the 38. That's Sean Phillips, number 95, and they're looking at his hand on the sideline.
With Phillips on one side and Merriman on the other, they are a real pain in the neck to any passing game in the NFL.
20 sacks between them coming into this game.
And when they come together, when they are covering the edge on both sides of the pocket, man, that is big trouble for a quarterback.
3rd and 9. Quick pass to the outside, and that is caught by John Madsen, the tight end, but that's going to be a few yards short of a first down. Fans want Lane Kiffin to go for it. Jamarcus Russell still on the field, and he's going to go for it.
Sure, why not?
So 4th and 3 early here in the fourth quarter.
4th and 3 from the 44.
And San Diego going to take a timeout here just to check things out. They burn their first timeout here in the second half. 11:03 to play in the fourth. Jamarcus Russell counting teammates. 4th and 3. The Raiders at their own 44. Russell on the move and throws. Diving catch is missed by Zach Miller at midfield.
Well, good time that time of San Diego flushing him out of the pocket. Zach Miller, the rookie tight end, and I think Jamarcus Russell over the years are going to play pitch and catch a whole lot. But that ball just, again, a little low and a little behind. Miller was in a position, if it would have been a little more accurate throw, that would have moved the chains.
Yeah. So Billy Volek has come on at quarterback now for the San Diego Chargers. You know, Dan, they're 4-down territory for the Chargers. You got a feeling they've been in 4-down territory since about week 5.
Yes, isn't that the truth?
Rivers' numbers on the day as he turns it over to Volek, and the give is to Michael Turner, and Turner is racked up by Derek Burgess. Loss of 2, 2nd and 12.
Loss of a yard. 2nd and 11 from the 45.
You know, there's been a lot of talk out here in Oakland about Rob Ryan, there, the defensive coordinator, and whether or not he's coming back. You know, the defense hasn't played all that well, and sometimes I wonder how well and with what intensity this defensive unit is playing today if they're not making a statement. He's very popular with the players.
Volek throws, and that's complete to Vincent Jackson, short of the 40-yard line. As a reminder, the Chargers trying to secure the 3 seed in the AFC playoff picture. New England and Indy will get a first-round bye next weekend. San Diego will host either Cleveland or Tennessee, whichever team claims that 6th spot, while Pittsburgh, should it finish number 4, and they are losing to Baltimore as we speak, would host Jacksonville.
So it looks like it'll end up with the first 4 teams being status quo as we came into the day. And again, Cleveland is powerless to do anything about their playoff picture. If Tennessee loses, they're in. If Tennessee wins, they're out, and Tennessee's in.
Some pretty prominent members of that San Diego front. Jamal Williams not playing today, seated at the end there. Luis Castillo standing in front of him. Igor Olshansky taking the seat next to him.
The starting 3.
3rd and 7 for Volek. Straight drop, quick screen. Darren Sproles going nowhere. And that'll bring on Cyphers in the punting unit.
Greg, we were talking about San Diego and them, you know, playing better and getting better as the playoffs approach. As you mentioned, Castillo, his return last week after being out 6 weeks with a really severe ankle injury. Big, big, big for San Diego.
Johnny Lee Higgins making the fair catch at the 9-yard line. 9:05 to play in the fourth. Of course, everybody will have in their eyesights New England Patriots.
And why not? It's hard to play any better than this team across the board has played. Yes, Tom Brady, no quarterback has ever had a season like he just had. Teddy Bruschi, Seymour, the addition of Adalius Thomas, a healthy Junior Seau, Rodney Harrison back playing at a high level.
Dan, in that game last night.
Look at their records. I mean, just look at that. Points and Brady and Randy Moss. Greg, they are the total package.
Here's Dominique Rhodes breaking out to the 19. In that game last night, what did you see that gives other teams hope of playing when they play New England?
Well, I thought the Giants were very successful running the ball against New England. And I think that's got a lot of people going, boy, this will be interesting if New England ends up playing Jacksonville. Because you wonder if they can be run against. I'm thinking that's the only way you can do it. Somehow you got to run the ball, eat up the clock, and keep Brady making a spectator.
Keep the ball out of Tom Brady's hand. Yeah, here comes Rhodes again. Rhodes up over 110 yards rushing on the day.
The other threat, I think, to New England is with them having the home field advantage, is playing a game in Foxborough if there are 30 or 40 mile an hour winds. Because this is a team that operates out of the spread offense and throws the football a lot. And if that passing game can be negated by horrible weather, that would be a big plus to their opponent.
Rhodes on 2nd and 3, trying to get to the 30-yard line. He appears to have enough for a first down. He does. Clock continues to move, coming up on 7:45 to play in the fourth. Oakland trailing by 10.
And the other thing for New England, Greg, I think, is they also have to play and try to win with that Steinway piano on their back of the undefeated season. It's one thing if it's not hard enough to play the very best teams in your conference, or when you get to the Super Bowl, the very best team from the other conference, but they're going to have the constant pressure of trying to equal the 72 Dolphins.
Here comes Rhodes again. You know, what really impressed me last night about the Patriots, and you could see that the Giants were concentrating every effort they had to try to put the clamps on that passing game, and when they had to, Brady and company ran the ball and ran it well.
Yeah, they did. And how many big plays did they make again to Kevin Falk? There's talk about a guy, the Patriots, he's one of their captains, so he doesn't fly under the radar to them. But to a lot of football fans around the country, I don't think they realize what a valuable member of that team, number 33 is.
Russell throwing. Nice scoop by Justin Griffith, and Griffith across the 35 to about the 37-yard line.
Again, a completed pass by Jamarcus Russell, but it was, you know, he didn't put anything on it. It was, look, he's got to do a better job of using his legs and stepping into his throws. He's all arms and dropping it in there. And when you are all arms, the ball has a tendency to tail off at the end and do a nosedive.
Now, he's miles ahead of where he was last week.
Miles. He's not even in the same state.
On 3rd and 4, Russell on the move. Looking, directing traffic, finds his man across midfield. That's Ronald Curry for a first down. It'll be seen at its regularly scheduled time. On first down, Russell steps out of trouble, hits Dominique Rhodes. Rhodes inside the 35 to the 31. Welcome those of you just joining us here in Oakland, where San Diego is trying to secure the number 3 seed for the upcoming AFC playoffs. They can do that with a victory here or a Pittsburgh loss at Baltimore. And so far, both those things are taking place. Right now, San Diego leads 27-17, 5 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. but the Raiders are on the move. Play fake. Russell on the move, throws it away. Under pressure that time from Jacques Cesaire. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And again, that was a smart move on his part. Again, he's so comfortable outside the pocket. And I love the fact he's not frantic outside the pocket. There's no wasted energy. He's always looking downfield.
You got the impression, talking to Lane Kiffin, that he would have preferred to see better decision making rather than better results.
Oh, yes. And especially last week, where he made horrible decisions, throwing into double coverage, forcing the ball. He hasn't done that today.
Dominique Rhodes up the middle to the 25, and a late flag flies in. And it's going to be holding against the Raiders.
Holding offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty.
That's the center, Jeremy Newberry. Boy, talk about a drive killer.
Well, Newberry, the guy that's come over from the 49ers, has really given them some stability in the middle.
Dan, do the Raiders lead the league in ink?
They're inked up on the offensive line, that's for sure.
I think Robert Gallery leads the league in ink.
He looks more like a painting than. But it has been again, Jamarcus Russell has been a big story here in Oakland, the #1 overall pick in the draft, getting his first NFL start today, and he has not embarrassed himself.
51-yard drive, their longest drive of the day. Russell throwing over the middle, has his man, 15, Johnny Lee Higgins, and Higgins inside the 35 to about the 33, 425 and counting.
And again, there was a good look at working his way through a progression and finding himself an open receiver. Again, for San Diego, they're going to retain the 3rd seed, because even if they were to lose this game, they'll still be the 3rd seed because of the fact that Baltimore is really putting it to Pittsburgh. And in any sort of a tie situation, San Diego wins out over the Steelers because of a better conference record.
Russell waits, throws outside, tight end, Zach Miller, and Miller down to about the 22.
Well, 2 to 80, I think, is going to be a passing combination that's going to be doing okay here in Oakland for years to come. Jamarcus Russell, a rookie, the 1st-round choice. Zach Miller, the 2nd-round choice, a rookie from Arizona State. And these two obviously have some sort of a connection. That was Miller's 7th reception.
And now 4th and 2 for Russell and the Raiders. Rhodes and O'Neal in the backfield. Going to give it to Rhodes, and Rhodes is not going to get the first down. Ryan Bingham and Jacques Cesaire closed on Dominique Rhodes. Rhodes had 122 yards today and couldn't add a couple of more.
No, and that was really just a special play by Bingham. He closed it down from the backside, and he was the first guy there. And Dominique Rhodes, who's had a good day running the football, didn't have a chance. And Ted Cottrell's defense again came up big. They've been doing that all year.
So Billy Volek now just looking to take time off the clock. Michael Turner still on his feet and spinning forward to about the 27 or 28-yard line to JB in New York. James.
Hey, Greg. Charlie Batch and company making it a ball game. Charlie Batch here hooking up with Cedric Wilson, 7-yard strike, capping an 8-play, 56-yard drive that came on the recovery of an onside kick. 27-21 Baltimore, 3:36 left in regulation. Pittsburgh fighting for that 3rd seed. Back to Greg and Dan.
You can bet it'll take about that long for that word to get down the North Turner.
Wow, that is some Pittsburgh comeback they got going on there.
Oakland with a timeout now has 2 left. San Diego has 1 remaining. Clock is stopped with 2:57 to play here in the 4th. Phillip Rivers, he the feisty one.
He's after the week he had last week, you wouldn't have expected it. He took on the whole stadium here earlier.
Volek on 2nd and 6. Ooh, knocked down over the line, Gerard Warren. Had that one thrown right at him. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Boy, you'd think that San Diego would have tried to keep the ball on the ground, keep the clock moving, force Oakland to use their timeouts. The Raiders got a freebie there. Stoppage of the clock and without having to use a timeout.
Antonio Cromartie headed to the Pro Bowl. 3rd and 6. Turner. Big hole up the middle and close to a first down. Spot will be interesting here. We're going to get a measurement.
Can't see the football yet until the guys clear out of there.
If they made it, looks like they barely made it.
I'm going to guess it's about 2 inches short.
See how you did, Eagle Eye. Amazing.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
When you're hot, you're hot. And the Chargers were not hot because now they're short on 4th down, and in this situation, you got no choice but to punt it away. There'll be no heroics here.
Mike Cyphers will come on to kick it away to Johnny Lee Higgins. Remember, returns have been the order of the day today. We've had some terrific returns, and now we get a timeout called by Oakland. You know, everybody has New England on the brain, and rightly so, but, you know, those Indianapolis Colts are the defending Super Bowl champs, and they are just lurking as the number 2 seed.
Well, again, Tony's team is getting Marvin Harrison back. We all know they've already got Peyton Manning, Joseph Adai at the running back position. They have what it takes. Bob Sanders is healthy. You know, 13-2. Wow. It's hard to believe that 13-2 could go on with as little fanfare as the Colts have done this year because of what's been happening with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Right? And doesn't that really set the Colts up just beautifully? What could be better than being the defending Super Bowl champions?
I'm sure they don't mind it a bit.
Oh, no. I'm sure they walk around going, hey, we got no chance.
Cypher. Higgins shied away from it, picked off by the Chargers. Cromartie trying to scoop it up. The Chargers have the ball down inside the 5-yard line. Kasim Osgood, Pro Bowler on special teams. We talked with Norv Turner yesterday about how he seems to do something every game, and Norv Turner says he does something every practice.
Well, there was the muff. Never cleanly handled it all. They're saying the recovery from San Diego actually happened at the 4-yard line. And gee whiz, Higgins, just a horrible decision to try to field that when he wasn't in a position to get all the way under the ball.
No way he should have signaled for a fair catch.
And that's Warren Sapp, who's going over there as a captain of the team, I guess, going over there trying to keep the kids' confidence up.
So now 1st and goal for San Diego at the 4.
Pretty classy move by Warren Sapp going over there to try to tell the kid maybe it's not the end of the world.
Michael Turner trying to fight for yardage and isn't going to get it. Forward progress is going to be marked at the 4. And if the Chargers are smart, they will take this all the way down to the 2-minute warning.
Oh, I don't think they're in a big hurry to run a play.
They are on track for the number 3 seed in the AFC playoffs, which means hosting either Cleveland or Tennessee next weekend. 2 minutes to play. Network. There's a young Charger fan who got the gift of a football from Kasim Osgood after he recovered that loose ball.
When I was that age, if an NFL player would have handed me a football, I would have hyperventilated and passed out. Look at that.
He's having a good old time.
How great is that?
2nd and goal from the 4. Whistles, flags.
False start, offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty.
Jeremy Clary, the right
Second down.
Are you a Hitchcock fan, Dan?
I know what you're going to say.
Ooh.
There are hundreds of seagulls all of a sudden that have decided to come and fly around over the top of the stadium.
And swoop.
Hey, look at this. There's a good look at them.
Looks like there's a sign somewhere that says free bird seed.
They were not here 5 minutes ago. All of a sudden, in fact, they look like they're moving off now, to tell you the truth. They're moving over the one end of the stadium.
You're wishing.
It was a brief visit. Well, at least we're undercover.
Fuller throwing for the corner in the end zone. It is incomplete. Antonio Gates fighting Fabian Washington.
Well, most of the Charger All-Stars are on the bench with the exception of this guy. And there's a little bit of a shove off by Antonio. Look at him use that body. Fabian Washington's got to be going, are you kidding me?
Guy lost his hat in the front row there.
I'm bouncing off of this guy.
3rd and goal. Turner met at the 7 and pulled back by Jay Richardson. And that'll bring Nate Kading and the field goal unit on. Yeah, Dan, they've left.
And they,
Holy
oh, here they come back again. It's a seagull fest. Of course, we are we're right here in Oakland, California. We are surrounded by water on San Francisco Bay. We're over here in the East Bay. I don't know what the birds are looking for, but they appear to have found it here. Of course, there's a lot of excess popcorn at that. I would think that this is right after a football game. There's 50, 60,000 people in one place.
Word gets out in the Bird Kingdom.
Hey, I was out on the parking lot today. There was some mighty fine barbecue going on out there.
Kading will put this one up from 24 yards out. And now San Diego with the number 3 seed very much in hand. We talked about the Patriots and the Colts 1 and 2, Chargers 3, and the 4 seed is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, who rested a bunch of their guys today, Dan.
Yeah, they really did. Mike Tomlin's team, Ben Roethlisberger, sat it out today, but he has had a wonderful year. Of course, Troy Polamalu he and Bob Sanders kind of set the safety standard in his league. And, Heath Miller, Hines Ward, all sorts of quality receivers, and to see the number 1 defense in the National Football League. But the loss of Aaron Smith and Willie Parker. Parker, at the time he went down, was the NFL's leading rusher. Huge losses, one offensively, one defensively, and those are the kind of losses, Greg, that leave a mark and are hard to overcome.
Tough shoes to fill.
Aaron Smith at the defensive end position, people were moving the ball. When he left that Steeler lineup, people moved the ball on them like never before.
Every Pittsburgh Steeler told us the most underrated player on the Steeler roster.
Yes, they did.
1:46 to play here in Oakland. San Diego with a 30-17 lead. Chris Carr is deep for the Raiders. Lane Kiffin and company, work to do in the offseason. Carr on the move at the 10. 25. Out to the 30 and another nice return on the day. Meanwhile, those Jacksonville Jaguars, we've been saying it over and over. Who wants to play these guys?
Well, Jack Del Rio's club is they're the two-headed monster offensively, at 11-5 in the tough AFC South. Between Maurice Jones-Drew and Fred Taylor, they come at you with, a whole bunch of different directions. David Garrard has been very good at quarterback, and defensively, they are solid, both against the run and the pass. But what they are hard-nosed.
DeMarcus Russell over the middle, across the 40, and Zach Miller, who has had himself a dandy afternoon.
I want to finish off Jacksonville by saying it's exactly what was pointed out to us late in the year. They are a team from the South built to go up and play in the North.
Quick pass to Rhodes out of the backfield, and Rhodes across the 45 to about the 47. Clock continues to move, 70 seconds to play right now.
You know, again about Jacksonville, you hear people say, oh, well, geez, a team from Florida might have to go up to Foxborough and play in the cold. Why don't you get the impression that that's of little consequence to the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Jacques Cesaire slow to get up. So Tennessee, if Tennessee wins tonight, they're in, and they'll travel to San Diego next week. If Tennessee loses, Cleveland will travel. It's next Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on CBS.
And Cleveland can't do anything but just sit in front of the television set and hope that Tennessee stumbles tonight.
Light candles for Jim Sorgi.
Yeah, that's
2nd and 6. Russell throws this side incomplete. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Tony Petitti. Today's game produced by Mark Wolf and directed by Bob Fishman. The senior producer of CBS Sports and the NFL Today is Eric Mann. The director is Bob Matina. The coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Lance Barrow. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. The associate directors of today's game, Ryan Galvin and Joe Zapula. Our broadcast associates, Brian Jagoda and Alana Campbell. Our technical manager, Jim Baker. The technical director, Dennis Stone. And our audio supervisor is Kevin Little. And all of our entire crew. Another job well done throughout the entire regular season.
Well, you are right about that, and it's a final. Baltimore has beaten Pittsburgh 27-21.
Looks like the word is circulating on the San Diego sideline. Ooh! Russell goes down. The ball is loose.
And there's our guy, Giles Tucker again, who came up. He's had an active day. Remember, he got the strip sack on Russell and ended up with a touchdown recovery.
Brandon Seiler recovers. And, you know, if Jamarcus Russell's upset, you know, I think the quarterback has a right when people come in untouched.
Well, you got to know whether or not you got a blocker on that backside. You got to know whether there's a guy that's hot. If he comes from that direction, you've got to be accountable for him. Now, I don't know. I'm not sure what the Oakland protection was. You don't know if somebody blew the protection or
how about it was
if
nil?
Russell just didn't know.
How about it was nil?
Well,
there was no protection.
But sometimes guys like that are unaccounted for. He belongs to the quarterback. And you got to know, you got to be aware of a rush coming from that one side.
That'll do it. San Diego secures the number 3 seed in the AFC playoffs. They will host next weekend at home. The clock winds down on the Oakland Raiders season. Our final score, 30-17 Chargers. For Dan Deerdorf, Greg Gumbel, our entire crew here in Oakland, thanks for joining us. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. To the NFL Today in New York, and James Brown.